Oh, what's going on? What is actually going on? I don't even know if I'm live streaming right now. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm live streaming, if I'm on, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is what you are watching. We are talking, or we are at least going to try and talk about a severe weather warning in the United Kingdom right now. Heavy snowfall, and brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, because it does seem like it is legit. I'm going to be talking about that. I'm also going to be talking about, and let me please caveat this. I want to caveat this before anybody says anything. We're going to be talking about the airstrike in Nigeria, a comment that Alex Jones has made. So this is not a comment that I'm making. I'm just reporting what Alex Jones is saying. And Alex Jones is saying, is this the beginning of the second crusade? Now, it's a question. I'm not asking this question, ladies and gentlemen. I live in the United Kingdom. I live in the United Kingdom, so I wouldn't dare propose any questions as controversial as that, because I don't want to get locked up. Also, Elon Musk. Yes, Elon Musk. He's watching this channel. He has to be watching this channel. We've got Elon Musk comments. We've got Islam versus Christianity. I've got a little video to show you guys on that. What else have we got? We've got women, you girls. It's all your fault. Yes, it is. And look, guys, you know how when you're talking about things, your phone is listening. Where's my phone? It's in my pocket. It's in my pocket where it normally is. You know when you're talking about things and your phone listens. Let's not pretend it doesn't, because it does. So you know what? Earlier on the live stream. Earlier on the live stream, I was talking about how women, a lot of the problems we have today, through no fault of women, just by natural selection, a lot of the problems we have today are, you can blame women for a lot of the problems we have. Now, I was talking about this morning, and then earlier on today, I saw a video, and the video just literally articulates everything I said, but it articulates it, I think, and it uses George Orwell as an explanation, George Orwell's 1984. So we're going to be talking about that. What else have we got? And I've got some Yuri Bezmenov as well. So where are we going to start? Where are we going to start, ladies and gentlemen? Do we start with Yuri Bezmenov? Do we start with Elon Musk? Do we start with how everything in the United Kingdom, all the problems in the West are women's fault? Do we start with Islam? Do we start with Alex Jones? Or do you know what, guys? We are going to start normally we start at the best place, which is the beginning. So I guess we're just going to start at the beginning. So I'm going to talk about this weather warning. I will come back onto this. Let me turn the chat on. I will come back onto this. I will come back onto this later on. But before we start, ladies and gentlemen, make sure, if you've not done so already, you hit that subscribe button down below, the like button, the follow button, literally everything that's down there. Everything that's down there, the buttons, guys. Can you do those buttons that help me out? Before, my hair is wild, isn't it? It's like absolutely crackers, my hair at the moment. Right, let me right. So earlier on, I need to give you guys context. Earlier on TikTok, I did a video and I was talking. When you see a weather report and it's for longer than 5 days, you kind of can't really take any credibility of it, right? You can't. Now, that's what I thought. Now, I was wrong. I'll be honest with you guys. I was wrong. Do you know what? I wasn't wrong. I was right. But this is not a weather report. This is just a stratosphere report. So bear with me, guys. So the reason I always say that you can't take a weather report with any credibility after 5 days is because that's what I got taught in the military. Literally, it's a big thing. When you're planning a military operation, you need that weather report. You need to know what the cloud cover is for. You may or may not get moonlight. You need to know what the cloud cover is because you may or may not get air support, and that air support may or may not be able to come down below the cloud base. There's so many different reasons why you need the weather report as the military. If you're heading towards torrential storms and torrential rain, it's probably not the best time to go out walking at night time and doing offensive operations. So you've got to understand the weather. And what I always got taught is Any weather report after 5 days is totally irrelevant. So I did a video on TikTok earlier on, and this was for a long range weather report, and they're saying that the round about the 6th of January, that's when the weather is supposed to get really, really bad. Now, let me just be clear. What I'm talking about now is not a weather report, it's a stratosphere report. So let me just share this with you real quick. So this is the article here, guys. This is the article I'm going from, and this is from this website here. The website is literally called Severe Weather Europe. Brace for a chilly start to 2026. Polar vortex split and bringing prolonged cold to North America and Europe. And look, guys, even though we've left the European Union, we are still part of Europe. So this is a huge, I read all of this. I read it all because I was absolutely fascinated. There's graphs and all sorts of stuff. And I'll be honest, guys, you know, where I was right, that you can't have a weather report, you know, for further than 5 days. This is not a weather report. This is a stratosphere report, essentially. So that's what I'm going to be focusing my my live stream on. That's what I'm going to be focusing. Well, that's what I'm going to be focusing this part of the live stream, where I talk about the. That's what I'm going to be using, guys. When I talk about heavy snowfall, severe weather, and people need to brace. That's the article that I'm going from. So let me just begin, guys. All right, let me just begin, and then I'll jump onto the video. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you like, follow, comment, subscribe, all those fantastic things that help this channel grow. So I'm here to break down some of the information that I said earlier and tell you guys about this cold weather that is coming, the severe weather that is inevitably coming to the United Kingdom. Like I said, guys, everything I'm talking about now is from the article that I just shared with you guys. So, excuse me. What we're talking about is I'm going to go through this real quick, guys. If anybody wants me to come back and explain this in depth, I will. So we're talking about an anomaly right now in the stratosphere tied to a sudden stratospheric warming event, or an SSW, which is a disruption in the polar vortex. Now, I know that sounds like something out of a sci-fi film, but stick with me, guys, because it's like really simple, and I'm going to try and really simplify this not because I think any of my audience are below the scientific concepts, just because I want to get through it really quickly. So it's easier. I just simplify things. So this is not a scientific, this is not a sci-fi film. This is very real, and will have a noticeable effect on the winter here in the United Kingdom. So let me unpack this step by step. So first off, let's get our head around the basics. Okay, so a polar vortex is essentially, now I am gonna massively shorten this, right? I'm gonna massively shorten this. The polar vortex is basically a vortex, so like a spinny thing above the North Pole that sucks all the cold air in, right? So all the cold air from the North Pole, it gets sucked up, and it's in a vortex above the North Pole. Imagine like when you spin something in a bucket or something, I don't know, you know, in a vortex. That's what's happening right now. That's called a polar vortex. Now, what happens is when that vortex warms, you get something called the sudden stratospheric warming, and that vortex, because it's warmer now, that cold air that was in a funnel, basically. So the colder it is in the North and South Pole, the warmer it is, if that makes sense, because all that cold air is sucked in. So what's happened is there's been this sudden stratospheric warming. And what's happened is that's weakened the polar vortex. So imagine all that cold air above the North Pole. Something's heated it up. It's being heated up now. I don't know what that is, to be honest. It doesn't say on that article. But what's happening is basically now all that cold air is disseminating down, and slowly but surely that is going to engulf further south. They call it either wobble or a stretch or even a split. Now, we've seen these things. Now, this has been happening since late November. And again, guys, I didn't realize anything about this, but the latest forecasts that I've just shown you guys, what I just showed you guys, that was updated today, are showing an elongated solar vortex, and it's slowing down significantly. Now, why does that matter? Why does that matter? Well, if the solar vortex polar vortex, if the polar vortex gets knocked off its kilter, it doesn't just stay up there, it cascades down. So if you imagine the polar vortex being there, like the 8 on the 8 ball, that's where all the cold weather is. If that gets knocked off its kilter, or like what's happened now, it's been hit by a sudden stratospheric warming, all that cold air that's up, because it's spinning, slowly imagine this is the planet, slowly starts to come down, and that's why it is going to affect the United Kingdom. Now, that's kind of as simple as as I want to put it right now. If anybody wants to give me more, give more information on this, I will. Now, so what does that mean for us here in the United Kingdom? And I guess anyone on our angle, on our bearing, northings, eastings, sorry, anybody else on our eastings. The forecasts are pointing to severe weather early January. We're already seeing signs of this right now. I mean, outside right now, guys, it's like where we live, it's 0. And 0 is kind of a big deal if you live in the United Kingdom. And I know if you live in like Canada or like Eastern Europe, like, what is 0? 0 is no problem. 0 is, I go play football in 0. It's no problem. Yeah, I get that. But here in the United Kingdom, we're not used to that. So it's all relative. So the forecasts are turning towards that, guys, right now. And that is the reality. So where I say normally that you can't predict the weather, beyond 5 days. We're not predicting the weather now. What we are predicting is a polar vortex, and you can absolutely predict the weather beyond 5 days. In fact, you can only the stratospheric, this polar vortex, it moves very slowly, so it is very predictable. So earlier on my video on TikTok, I was quite, I said, I'm not sure about the credibility of this, but I'm changing my mind now. I'm going back on that, because we're not, the weather forecasts are not predicting the weather, they're predicting the stratosphere, which is, it is the weather, but it also isn't. Anyway, so what can we expect? First of all, we can expect the cold. Yes, the cold, ladies and gentlemen. Expect it to get really, really cold. Think frost. Just think cold. That's what you should expect. Literally think cold. Especially if you live in the Highlands, the Pennines, anywhere that's like relatively high. This could come as far down as the Midlands. It may not be, although it may as well, it may not be as horrific as the Beast from the East in 2018. But ladies and gentlemen, what we are looking at is an increased risk of heavy snowfall, icy roads, freezing weather. And like I keep saying, here in the United Kingdom, we are just not geared up for that. So like we're not geared up for the hot weather. We don't have air conditioning. Most people in the United Kingdom don't have air conditioning. Most people in the United Kingdom don't have cold weather tires. They don't have snow chains. They don't have alternate energy sources if their gas or electric gets cut. So that's what I'm talking about right now, guys. That's why it's a real threat. And I know some people will think, it's great because we'll be able to play snowballs. Yeah, that will be great. But, some people will really struggle. So practically speaking, this is going to affect people's daily lives, and it will. This is, from what I've read on the article before, this will affect everybody's daily life, because it is gonna, it is coming. There's no stopping it now. So like travel, if you're traveling for a holiday, or you're taking a train or a flight, just be cautious. Those trains or those flights may be delayed or even cancelled. Energy bills could tick up as, people will all turn their heating on, and we do it ourselves. We've got our house is fueled by wood. Yes, good sir, we are a wood fueled house. But you know what? You know when it gets really, really cold, we turn those electric heaters on. And I know it costs a lot of money, but when you need that extra bit of heat, you do. You go straight to the electricity. You go to the gas. You go to what you've got. So everybody's going to be doing that. So the electricity network is going to be under additional strain. It's going to be under additional strain when it's going to be harder to repair. It's going to be harder to facilitate. It's going to be harder to maintain. So that's when and look, guys, let's not pretend that we don't have saboteurs working in this country. So we could have a multi-pronged. We could be looking at a multi-pronged calamity here in the United Kingdom. So brace for hard frost, that could damage all sorts of things. You've got to look at health. You've got to look at cold weather injuries. You've got to look at slips, trips, and falls. Look, I don't know what the statistics are, but I would say that there is a significant number of older people. I'm talking about nanans, granddads, great nanans, great granddads, who slip, trip, and fall, at this time of a year, and they don't get back up because their immune system, they're weaker. A fall or a slip or a trip for an older person is a lot more catastrophic than it is, obviously, for me. I'm never getting old. I'm not going to get old, and I'm not going to die. But I know a lot of people do. So it's just like it's these little things. It's like when I'm teaching tactics around the world and people say to me, Sean, what is best tactic? What is best weapon? What is best? I say, look, the best everything is the small things done right. It is the small things done right. So, of course, though, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a lot to get through, so I am rattling through this relatively quick. So, of course, these weather forecasts are not set in stone, but stratospheric events, these are happening, guys. This is really happening. Go check out the website. Go check out the website I just shared with you. This is happening. There has been a stratospheric warming. What is it called? Hang on. Let me find it here. Sudden stratospheric warming event, which has destabilized the polar vortex, and that polar vortex is coming down. That's why the mainstream media and me as well, we were able to predict, and I was just reading off the mainstream media, guys. Let's just be fair. I'll be honest with you guys. When I was reading that, I didn't think I was like, yeah, this is bullshit. This is clickbait. But it's not clickbait. All right. It's not clickbait. It is a real thing. It is a real thing. So what I'm getting at, ladies and gentlemen, as the polar vortex above the North Pole weakens, slowly that cold air is going to come down and it's going to get further and further south. And that's what's happening right now. So early January, we are going to see an increase in the decrease of the temperature. That didn't make sense, did it? Early January, we are going to see a decrease in this. We are going to see a decrease in the temperature and the risk of heavy snowfall. It's there, guys. So expect it. All right, expect it. Because there really isn't anything you can do with this polar vortex, right? So we've done that now. We've done that. Okay, I'm going to jump on. I'm going to listen, guys. I've got so much to get through today. I've got so much to get through today. So, where are we? I'm going to jump onto this right now. Give me a second. I need to be quite clear because obviously I live in the United Kingdom and I could get arrested for social media posts if I criticize the government or criticize people who I shouldn't be criticizing. So let me be clear, guys, okay? Let me be clear. I'm not saying anything. What I'm saying is I'm reporting what Alex Jones is saying, and Alex Jones is saying, is this the beginning of the second Great Crusade? ? Question mark. So we're both asking questions. In fact, you know, I'm not even asking a question. I'm just letting you know, guys, know what Alex Jones says. So anybody who's watching this who want to get me arrested, I'm just right. So let's look what. So this is from the earlier on to yesterday actually. The United States. Well, I'll read it. This is from Donald Trump yesterday. Okay. Tonight, at my direction, as Commander-in-Chief of the United States, as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against Islamic ISIS territory, terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria. And they really are scum. They're some of the biggest scum I've ever seen. I don't know any more scum you've seen. JD, have you ever seen any scum? I know I haven't. And they operate in northwest Nigeria, who have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians at levels not seen for many years and even many centuries. I previously warned them. I warned them. I said Boko Haram. I said ISIS. I said, you better stop your killing of innocent Christians, or the United States are going to come in there, and we're going to come in there guns blazing. We'll come in there. We will. We really will come in there guns blazing. We will. We'll come in there. And we did. We did it tonight. I previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, they would be held to pay. And tonight there was, ladies and gentlemen, the United States with some of the greatest military hardware in the world. They went over to Nigeria. We went over to Nigeria, and we showed ISIS the Christians will not be slaughtered, not in my name, not in Donald Trump's name. The Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes, as only the United States is capable of doing. Under my leadership, because I'm Donald Trump, under my leadership, our country will not allow radical Islamic terrorists to prosper. May God bless. Sorry, I'm really sorry. May God bless our military, and Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if the slaughter of Christians continue. Look, guys, I can't, you can't knock him, can you, really? You can't knock him, can you, really? Obviously, I was doing the speech as if I was Donald Trump, and I was giving it to you guys. So, you know, is this, I don't think it is, but is this the beginning to the second crusade? I mean, I don't know I don't know where. I can't give precedence to this. I really can't give precedence to this where, I mean, where is it? Can I? I can't come. I can't compare. I can't highlight these things because it's a JPEG or a picture or whatever. So just a couple of the things here. I can, personally, let me know in the chat if you can. I cannot remember ever. I can't remember ever of a time when a military operation has been put into action to protect Christians. I don't know. I don't think. I'm pretty sure that's never been done. I'm pretty sure that the word. Look here. Where are we? Deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria, who have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians. It's you know, it does seem like he's targeting the Islamic State because they've been targeting Christians. Otherwise, why would you mention it? And look, I don't think that's negative. And he's saying they've been viciously killing primarily innocent Christians at levels not seen for many years and even centuries. And again, he's putting that centuries thing in there. So I'm like, that is a big thing to say for centuries, because obviously you go back centuries and centuries, you see the mass, persecution of Christians all over Europe, all over the Middle East. I've previously warned. Again, he used Christians again. I previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, So, I'm just trying to unpack this. So he's saying, look, you stop slaughtering Christians or we're going to do airstrikes. So if, it's quite clear what he's saying here. It is quite clear. And then he finishes, look, guys, I don't know what you think. I think that this is a massive troll. I mean, he can do what he wants, can't he? He's DJT. And Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many, many more if the slaughter of Christians continue. So he's mentioned Christians 3 times here. And Christmas once, which so I'm going to say he's mentioning Christianity 4 times here. He's got Christian 3 times and Christmas, which is clearly a Christian festival. He's mentioned it, so he's got 4 mentions of Christianity there. I don't know. What do we think, guys? Do we think this is the beginning? Do you think we're going to have to buckle up the new Templars? The new Templars are going to get ready? I don't know. I don't think so. But look, guys, we are in 2025, and if ever we're going to have a biblical holy war or some wild stuff, it's going to be this year. It is going to be this year. Right, look, what do we go? Where do we go with this? I've got so much to go through. Right, as we're talking about Christianity, I've got a video to share with you guys. I've got a video to share with you guys. It's basically, right, the video I'm about to show you is a Christian and a Muslim, and they are debating, right? They're debating the Quran versus the Bible, all right? So you've got these 2 people, they're debating. One's obviously Muslim and one's Christian, and they're debating the Bible and the Quran. Now, at the end of it, somebody threatens violence to someone else. Can you guess who it is? Can you guess who it is? Just in the chat before we play the video, who do you think is going to threaten violence on the other one? Do you think the Christian is going to threaten violence on the Muslim, or do you think the Muslim is going to threaten violence on the Christian? I'm not going to give you any spoilers. We're going to play the video and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But the video, there's a lot of things in this video that you guys can take from this. Sorry, let me rewind this.
Yeah, I just came on to prove Islam is the true religion, and the Bible is not the true religion. And
okay. So first of all, the Muslim guy, he's coming on this. So first of all, guys, the Muslim guy, he's coming on there. He's coming on this live stream, whatever it is, and he's saying, "I'm on this live stream or whatever it is to prove." He's saying he's going to prove that Islam is the true religion. And the Bible is not the true religion. So that's what the Muslim guy's coming on there. That's his starting pitch. All right, that's his starting pitch. I don't know who these guys are.
Let me ask you a question, Muslim defender. I'll tell you why your Quran is nothing without the Bible. The 2 sons of Adam, who killed who?
The 2 sons of Adam, I think it was the older one that killed the younger brother.
Where does the Quran say that? Show me in the Quran, Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, 27-32. Which son killed who and what are their names?
I'm just bringing it up now.
I'll make it easier for you. I'll bring up the Quran for you. Okay, I'm going to ask you questions. You can only answer from the Quran, because I'm going to show you your Quran needs my Bible and assumes my Bible. Here it is. But recite unto them with truth the tale of the 2 sons of Adam, how they offered each a sacrifice and accepted from the one of them and was not accepted from the other. What are their names?
It doesn't mention here.
So without my Bible, make sense out of this, because I want to know what their names are and who killed who. Just use the Quran. Don't go to the Bible.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys can understand, follow what's going on here, but what the Christian guy is saying is that the information in the Quran, you need the Bible to understand. You need to understand the Bible to understand the Quran. And you've got the guy who's in the Quran. He's saying, the Quran's the best. So just let it play out. Let's just let it play out.
I'm gonna check it in Quran. What?
You're not gonna find it. Don't waste your time. Let me ask you another question. What is the name of Adam's wife?
Eve.
Show me in the Quran where it says that Eve was his wife. That's her name. And I'll take Shahada right now. Yeah, you can be here till next Umrah or Hajj. You're not gonna find it.
Her name was Hawa.
Where does the
Hawa.
Quran say her name is Hawa? Yeah, well, you'll be here till Umrah and Hajj. You want to answer that next Ramadan. Okay, I'm going to give you another question. Where did Jesus minister? What was the geographical location that Jesus ministered?
I don't know.
Neither does the Quran, neither does Allah. What are the
The
names
Quran
of-
does it.
No. Don't play that game. The Quran mentions Jesus, his followers, his ministry, and it mentions Moses and it mentions Abraham. Don't tell me it doesn't. It does. It mentions these prophets and what they did, but it can't tell you when they did it, where they did it, and can't even tell you the names of their followers or their spouses. For example, did Ishmael and Isaac have the same mother or two different mothers?
They had two different mothers.
Show me that in the Quran where it says their mothers are different.
Actually, it doesn't say. I think they had the same mom.
Then that means you don't know what you're talking about because Ishmael and Isaac cannot have the same mother, Sarah.
Well, Sam, I just wanted to say,
So, can you see now how the first guy who's giving him facts about his own, about the Quran? And look, guys, let me caveat this. It looks legit. I've not read the Quran. I'm not going to lie. The parts of the Bible that I've read are probably not what I probably should read the whole thing front to back. But clearly, from this video, and I don't know if it's edited, I don't know if it's AI, so I am caveating this, but clearly from this video, it's quite clear that the point has been proven that the Bible is superior. All right, from what we're seeing here, and I'm not really into that sort of stuff, but from what we're looking at here, and I'll be quite honest, guys, I don't claim to be an expert, but from what we're seeing here, it seems like the Bible is a superior document. Now, this is what the guy. If you guys can read the subtitles down there at the bottom, and he's saying, "Well, Sam, I just wanted to say." That's what he's saying. He says, Sam. So I'm assuming that's the other guy's name. Sam, well, Sam, I just wanted to say, if I ever, I'll continue the video now.
if I ever met you in real life, I would slap
So he's saying, if I ever met you in real life, I would slap
that smile off your face and I'll knock you out.
So he's saying, if I ever see you in real life, I will wipe that smile off your face and I will knock you out. So basically, when you come to look, guys, and I don't know if this is the case, but I am saying this in this case for the purpose of the demonstration. From what we're seeing here is somebody has started. Let's go right back to what he says right at the beginning. Right at the beginning.
Yeah, I just came on to
So he come on to prove Islam
is
the true religion. So he came on, he started this little live stream. He come on, he said, right, I tell you what, mate, I'm going to prove to you that Islam is the true religion, and
true religion, and the Bible is.
And the Bible is not the true religion. By the end of it, right? He's saying, I'm going to knock that smile off your face, and I'm going to knock you out because your facts are offending me. I'm offended by your facts and I'm going to knock you out. So, if you can't intellectually probe, don't get excited, guys. I'm talking about intellectually probing. But if you can't intellectually probe people, and probe people's opinions, then they don't have any opinions. It's like, when somebody's telling a lie, you can tell when people are telling a lie, right? Because if you ask them questions about it, they get aggressive and they get angry and they want to fight you. And if somebody's telling the truth, everything adds up. You say, right, okay, Sean, what's 2 + 2? Oh, it's 4. Right, okay, well, how do you make that 4? Well, if I've got this many and this many, and I do this, that, physically that is 4. If you're telling a lie, you get aggressive about it because you can't defend that with fact. You can't defend that didactically. And that's what I feel we may have just seen there. That is what I feel we may have seen there. Right, listen, guys. I don't know who those people were. I literally don't know who those people were. I don't know if that was AI. I want to be quite clear, guys, okay? I want to be quite clear. I don't know who those guys were. I'll be quite clear. Anyway, listen, ladies and gentlemen, right. AJ Aesthetics is saying, Sean, have you watched 2,000 Meters to Adviska? It just came out on YouTube. I have not. No, I've not watched that yet. Left me speechless. One of the best things I've watched. I've not watched that. Sam is a verbal warrior of God. I would rather kick John Wick's dog than debate the gospel with him. Look, guys, I'll be quite clear. I don't know who these people are. I don't know who they are. It seems like a lot of you guys know who he is. There's some guy called Sam. Look, guys, I'll be quite clear. I don't know who he is. Right, let me get some more comments. Sam has never lost a debate. He's never lost a debate. Silly Gallardi is saying Israel is mentioned 43 times in the Quran. Palestine 0 times. Jerusalem. Oh, right. Okay. Okay. So, look, guys, and I'll be quite clear. I'm not really like a religious person. I'm not. So I don't want to go down a blasphemous route. And the older I get, I think the more religious I am going to get. But if you start believing like religion, right, you've got to believe that a book's written like, I don't know, 2,000 years ago or whatever. You've got to believe that they have significance now. And I struggle with that. My logical mind struggles with that. Stephen is saying auditor attacks by migrants outside hotels with bottles and 17 MPs of wood video. I don't know what that means. It's 17 what's a 17 MP video? I don't know what that is. Right, guys, listen, I've got so much to get through. I've got so much to get through. I've done that one. Right. Ladies, all right? Girls, all right? Girls. I'm going to give you a trigger warning now. I'm going to give you girls a trigger warning right now, okay? If you guys were on with the live stream earlier on, I was... you know how your phone is always listening on you? I got showed this video on my feed, and it was exactly what it's almost exactly what I was talking about earlier on the live stream today. About so if you guys were on the live stream earlier on today, we were talking about the differences in men and women and how effeminate women are seeking effeminate men. They're having effeminate children and they're causing all sorts of crazy shit. All right. So that's what I was talking about earlier on. And then I saw this video. This video popped up and I thought, wow, AI really, the AI is fantastic. It's listening. But anyway, I'm going to play the video in its entirety. All right. Let me know what you guys think. Okay. Let me know what you guys think in the chat.
Except one with the state, which is ironic.
Sorry. He had Lord of the Rings there as well. He had Lord of the Rings. I didn't realize that. He had Lord of the Rings. Right. Let me, sorry.
George Orwell once wrote, "Women are always and inevitably on the side of the state." He wasn't being misogynistic. He was making a psychological observation. In his view, women, particularly in their role as caregivers and moral enforcers, tend to prioritize safety and compassion over risk and freedom.
So that's what I was saying this morning. Women are more compassionate, and that's just the reality. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Women are more compassionate, and because they're more compassionate and affirmative, they are, they think they're looking for certain things.
And that instinct, while natural, is easily weaponized by totalitarian systems. When conformity is marketed as compassion and control is rebranded as care, the state taps into the feminine psyche to enforce ideological obedience. Now consider this. Men will do almost anything to attract a mate. So when the state captures women through propaganda, redefining tyranny as empathy and compliance as virtue, men follow, especially those who can't compete in the traditional dating market. They feminize themselves and trade strength for submission.
This is literally what I said earlier on. I said it slightly different earlier on. What I said earlier on is men are starting to wear those little where they show their ankles and they can see and they wear shoes with no socks, and it's totally gay. But women seem to because I'm going to let this guy finish, because this guy articulates what I was saying this morning better than I was articulating it.
This is what evolutionary biologists...
Look there, the sneaker male. You've got the alpha male and then the sneaker male. The female mimic. This video is fantastic.
Call the sneaky strategy. Low status males mimicking feminine traits or moral positions in hopes of reproductive access. And
basically, guys, don't be a sneaky fucker. Don't be a sneaky fucker. Be a high... Oh, what does he say?
This is what evolutionary biologists call the sneaky strategy. Low status male.
Don't be a low status male. Don't be a low status male. Be a high status male. Be an alpha. Don't be a bitch. Be an alpha.
Males mimicking feminine traits or moral positions in hopes of reproductive access. And while all of this unfolds, families disintegrate. Single motherhood, a top predictor of poverty and social dysfunction, becomes the norm. Children from single-parent homes are far less likely to climb the economic ladder, and who steps in as provider and protector? Not the father, the state. But here's the kicker. The state is funded disproportionately by men, so rather than supporting the women they married and raised children with directly, men subsidize the state, which in turn provides for women through social programs. Why? Because women have been propagandized to see every relationship as a power dynamic, except one with the state, which is ironically the centralization of raw power. They've been told that to rely on a man is weakness, but to rely on a bureaucracy is empowerment. This is not progress. This is dependency with a new face. And both men and women are suffering. The childless middle-aged woman and the incel are two sides of the same broken culture. A woman without her own child often directs her maternal instinct towards abstract causes.
I don't know if you heard that there. So what he's saying is women without children are putting that feminine energy to these abstract causes. So we're getting a lot of women now who don't want to have children because they want to be a girl boss. And what's happening is they're still feeling that that feminine nurture, and they are diverting that towards abstract causes. So this is why you get all these feminists for Islam, you know, these feminists for migrants, because they feel, oh, I need to nurture something and I don't have children of my own. So, oh, all you people coming over from wherever you're coming over from, and you can see the shit path that we're in, right?
Infantilizing minorities under the guise of social justice. What we are witnessing from psychologically unwell men and women is Nietzsche's concept of resentiment, envy dressed up as morality. The strong became evil, the weak became good, strength became tyranny. We now live in a pathologically soft society that sides even with those who harm it, where punishing crime feels unfair and victimhood is the highest virtue. Nietzsche called them the tarantulas, those who preach justice but act from bitterness. They don't want to uplift the weak. They want to drag down the strong.
And I think that's right, guys. You know, you get a lot of these people who don't want to lift themselves up. They want to drag others down. And I think he articulated that really well. And like, if you look at society right now, the government, people, the liberals, they're not trying to bring, I will try and bring everybody up. I do. Like, if you knew me in my personal life and I see somebody like, hey, bro, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? There's a business opportunity for you. Let's go to the gym. Let's get bigger. Let's get stronger. Let's get faster. Let's earn more money. That's bringing people up. What it seems like we have a culture of at the moment in the United Kingdom is rather than bringing people up, we're dragging everybody down. So yes, we're going to be on the same playing field, but it's going to be a shit playing field. Maybe a game I don't want to play.
Who all saw them too. Quote, most middle-aged socialists, while theoretically pining for a classless society, cling like glue to their miserable fragments of social prestige. These bitter, well-educated and affluent types don't actually care about the downtrodden. They weaponize them. The real target is success, competence, independence, because those qualities expose their own inadequacies. But the answer to pathological femininity isn't pathological masculinity. It's not swinging the pendulum too far in the other direction. The answer is balance.
So I go on about a lot about this, you know, and I talk about, you know, men and women are different. They are absolutely different, but you've got to have that balance. You know, you've got to have a good woman and a good man, and they form a unit. They have children. Those children go on to be good children, you know, and that, you know, so when people think I'm being negative on women, I'm not being negative on women. I'm being negative on femininity and the forced femininity.
Masculinity and femininity are not enemies. They're symbiotic. We've simply overcorrected. We escaped a world where masculinity once tyrannized femininity, only to arrive in a world where femininity is tyrannizing masculinity. We are not oppressed by patriarchy. We are being suffocated by pathological softness, envy, and resentment. And unless we recognize this imbalance, the future will not be free. It will be emotionally manipulated, morally confused, and biologically unsustainable.
I mean, he literally articulated there better than me everything I was talking about this morning, and he did add a few. He did add a few things on there. But what I'm going to add to that is, you don't only just have that thing working against you. You also have how do I put this? Vultures. So you look at, I would say, political, think about nature, right? Think about nature. Like, you know, in nature, like, imagine a pack of wolves, right? Imagine a pack of wolves, you know, fierce wolves and beautiful blue eyes. Not me, I'm talking about wolves. You know, you got these wolves, right? Wolves will not let an idiot lead the pack. Motherfucker keep getting lost. He's going the wrong way. He's sniffing up the wrong tree. The wolves will not let an idiot wolf lead the pack. You guys know where I'm going, right? But in society, well, I'm not even going to make any simulations because I'm in the United Kingdom. I might get arrested in the morning. So what I'm going to say is, in nature, you don't get a buffoon leading the pack. Maybe you guys if you guys live in the United Kingdom, maybe you're looking at Parliament in the UK and thinking there may be some truth or non-truth in that. That's totally on you guys. I'm totally not making that assumption, but we need to let nature do its thing. We really do, guys. We need to let nature do its thing. Right, I'm going to get some chat, and then I'm going to jump over to. I've got some. I think I'm going to end on Yuri Bezmenov. Duchess is saying, hell no! I want a man that is all testosterone and not one that has been feminized. Never heard of that one. I'm not seeing that one. Right, let me jump down. April is saying, I agree with what he said. I have a lot of people around me that are like that. So I tell them to sort their life out because we need to support each other. Right, hang on. Is Leroy being good? Because I don't want to... I thought it was blue for lads and pink for girls. I don't know, Leroy. Like, Leroy Club flies close to the wire, but some things he says are so funny. Look, who cares? Don't want to sound old-fashioned, but I raise my boys as badass little fuckers who will never date a woman with blue hair or a nose ring. I think that's a good thing. I do. I think that's a good thing. But girls, you guys need to do the same thing as well. Stop dating men. Stop dating men that, like, you know, stop dating, you know, girls, stop dating the wrong type of men. Look, girls, if you're looking at a man, right, and he's standing there, do you know what? I do that with my finger, actually. I'm probably not. If you're standing there and he's having a cocktail with a load of straws and sparklers, and he's got and his trousers are 3 inches short from his ankles, and he's got shoes on and no socks. I don't know. I'm not sure how he would adapt as an apocalyptic warlord, and I get it. I get it. Some people may or may not think that the apocalypse and being an apocalyptic warlord may be far off the mark. But you know what, guys? I think it's closer than people think it is. Right, what else have we got? We've got Yuri Bezmenov. Right, listen, guys, I'm gonna try and close this down relatively early tonight. What I want to do is I want to just go quickly over the crux of this live stream. So Heavy snowfall, severe weather warning. People need to brace. Now that's true. What I've said previously that weather reports and weather warnings, you can't really predict them over 5 days, and that's true. But what I'm talking about now is a weather report, but it's a stratosphere report. So let me share this with you real quick. So this is the article I read today. Severe weather Europe. Brace for a chilly start for 2026. Polar vortex split to bring prolonged cold to North America and Europe. And as far as I knew, ladies and gentlemen, we are in Northern Europe. That's where we live. So this is going to hit us. Now, the article is it's really long. And it's got all sorts of graphs and stuff. And basically, in a nutshell, what's happened is there's been something called a sudden stratospheric warming event. I think sudden stratospheric sudden stratospheric warming event. And basically what this means is, and look guys, this is all new to me. So basically, imagine that 8 there. That is the North Pole, right? There's a vortex. And what that does is it sucks all the cold air from the North Pole up, right? So you've got all the cold air now here in a vortex, the polar vortex. Now, what happens is if this vortex gets a burst of hot air, hot weather, now whether that's from a solar flare or whatever, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't say in that article anyway. This solar vortex, it loses its spin and it starts to, and all that cold air that's going high, maybe, I don't know, I think it's 80 kilometers into the atmosphere. All that cold air now starts to fall. And as it starts to fall, because of gravity, all that cold air now starts to engulf these regions, and that is where we are. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about this. And that's happened now. That's happened, and it's on its way. So where you can't really predict rain and wind over 5 days, this stratospheric warming event has happened, and it's coming down now. So expect cold weather to come. Expect a heightened risk of severe weather, severe cold, heavy snowfall, that sort of stuff coming, guys. Okay, that is on its way now. The cold is on its way. Also, we've got Alex Jones, and you guys know I love a good Alex Jones. So let me. I'm going to share this with you so I don't get done for plagiarism. This is Alex Jones, not me. So Alex Jones has been saying, he's been asking the question, and I'm asking the same question. Is this the beginning of the second crusade? Now, he's obviously talking about this these military airstrikes that went into northeast Nigeria. The airstrikes that went in northeast. Is it northwest Nigeria? Sorry, my mistake. Northwest Nigeria. Now, and on his little thing there that he posted on his Truth Media, he's mentioned Christianity 4 times. He's mentioned it 1, Christians, 2, Christians, 3, Christmas, which is, Christian festival, and 4, Christians. So is this the start of the second crusades? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, look, guys, there we are. I am going to close this down. I will be back on tomorrow morning. I will, guys. I'll be back on tomorrow morning. I'm going to go and put some wood on the fire because it's very cold. And when I came out to do this live stream, it was 0 degrees. If you're on, ladies and gentlemen, you've not done so already, please make sure you hit that like, follow, subscribe button. Really helps me out when you guys do that. And in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, prepare for the polar vortex. I'll be back on at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, but I'll be up a lot earlier than that doing, I'll be up a lot earlier than that, cutting wood and getting the log burner going. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this down now. You guys have been fantastic, beautiful, intelligent, articulate. Where is he? Where's Leroy? Leroy's even behaved himself. Everybody's been behaving themselves as well. Everybody's been behaving themselves. I'll be back on tomorrow morning, guys, at 10. And I bid you good evening and Merry Christmas, because I'm still going to say that until the new year. So Merry Christmas, good evening. I will keep the chat on. If you guys want to keep chatting. It does turn itself off naturally after I don't know how long, but I will keep the chat on, guys. I'll see you in the morning. 10 o'clock. Don't be late.